Hey guys, I realize after the fact sometimes that I forget to tell you guys that if you are interested in the GreenStalk Garden, maybe you don't have one, you want to buy another one, whatever the case is, go to the description box, grab my link, and use my code LOLLY10. So it's LOLLY in all caps with the number 10. That'll get you 10 bucks off your order if it's 75 bucks or more, and that's even when they're having sales. And this is the green stalk that I planted a little bit over 2 weeks ago with you guys that has the greens, the radish, the turnips, and it's doing really well. I actually only watered it the first day and it's gotten rained on a few times, so I haven't even had to touch it. And this was just a little volunteer that grew up and I decided to leave it because it looks super healthy. And just a fair warning, you will be seeing clips of my dogs throughout this video just to add a little spice to the gardening because after all, they were the inspiration for this video. This is the green stalk that I've decided to work with this time. These are the original tiers, so they're going to be deeper than the leaf planters. Honestly, I don't know that I need the original. Y'all, my carrots in the past would have been just fine in the leaf, but I'm hoping for some bigger carrots this year, and so I'm going to use the original. I got high hopes, you guys. Today, I'm back to do a little bit more gardening in my second green stalk, and today was actually inspired by my dogs. Now, I love carrots too, but because I have so many dogs that love carrots, I just thought it'd be pretty cool to have a variety to choose from and maybe even see which one they like best. They may not even be able to tell the difference, but I just thought it would be fun to have something a little bit different to offer them. Now, I've tried to plant carrots in the past, I think 2 times in just a couple of pockets in my green stalk to see how they would do. But honestly, they were just an afterthought and I threw them in there way too late in the season. So it was way too hot and they came out really tiny. So they had a little bit of the leafy top on them and then not much going on underneath. I really wanted these planted about 3 weeks ago, but you know, sometimes stuff just comes up. And I did get my greens and a few other things planted in the first green stalk, so that's good. And I think I'm still early enough in the season that we'll be okay. That probably would have just been the best case scenario if I had done it a couple weeks ago, because it's been getting really hot a lot earlier. So I kind of feel like the season is going to be cut a little bit short, so I better get started. Now, I'm going to be planting even more carrots than the ones I'm going to show you today, but let me show you what I'm going to be starting with. So I'm going to plant these in my green stalks, but also somewhere else as well. So these are just more of your typical straight orange carrots. And by the way, I have some other ones that I'm going to plant that are even more different than the ones that I'm going to be planting today. Now these right here, I'm really excited about just because I like the color. I want to try some different things this time. It just makes it more interesting. I think carrots are delicious anyway, and it's going to be fun to see if these actually have a little bit of a different flavor, if some are sweeter than others, and just to see how big they grow. Now, the other thing that I did before was I put them in the potting mix, and it wasn't really a sandy soil. So what I want to do this time, just to make sure that it's not too rich or that it doesn't have too many pieces of bark and things like that in it, is to add some of my sandy soil that I used before for my potatoes. So what I'm going to do is clean out the green stalks of any kind of roots or anything that's left in them, and then go ahead and break the dirt up really good. Take some of that out so that I can make room for some of the sandy soil that I used for the potatoes. And so I'll mix that in with the potting mix and we'll see if that helps this time. Okay, so I always do a little bit of cleaning or prep in the green stalks from the season before. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of lift from the bottom and see if there's any big root systems. And this doesn't feel like it at all, which is great. So no kale, collards, things like that were growing in here. So there's not a lot of roots, but I definitely need to just break it up because this potting mix has been frozen for a long time from this winter because it was so cold. If you're new to GreenStalk, I want you to notice how low my potting soil is, okay? It's not sitting near the top at all anymore because it's really settled over the winter. And you always want to make sure that you fill it up to the top. It'll actually say on the inside, fill to the top, okay? So you'll see that as you water it and over time, it just starts to settle down. And if it sinks too low, your fruits and veggies aren't going to get enough sunlight. So now that I've made sure that there's not a lot of roots in there, I'm just really breaking it up with my pokey tool. I have no idea what that thing is called, but I call it my pokey tool. I'm sure that y'all will know the technical name for it. This one's a lot more clumpy, but it's still not a ton of roots. It just is probably from the cold. It's just really dry and stuck together. There's a volunteer in this one, as you can see there, the green leaves, and I don't want to pull those up. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is yet. And it's kind of in one pocket and next to another one. So those two pockets, I'm just going to leave alone and not plant anything in there. Just kind of wait and see what this is. So I'm just following the same process for all of these original tiers. And if you're wondering why there are 4 instead of 3, 5, or 7, it's just because I take them apart and make them whatever height I want depending on what my plan is for the garden. If you guys are new to GreenStalk, check out my GreenStalk playlist. I do know that some of them have music from the very beginning, which bothered some people, but there's a whole story behind that because my software did not play the music that loud, and then it was really overbearing to some people, but they're not all like that. And you know, everybody's different. I got comments from people who actually liked all the music in my videos, so I guess it just depends on whatever your style is. But just know, in general, I've had to tone down the music just because I did get a few complaints about it. I just want to make sure that everybody's able to watch the videos and actually gather the information that they need so that they know how to use the GreenStalk Gardens. Okay, so now that I've cleaned out these tiers, I went and got a couple grow bags that had some room left in them, and I'm going to take some of the potting mix out of these tiers, put them in the grow bags, and make room for that sandy soil. I'm hoping it's not going to be too difficult to dig out the sandy soil that's in the other grow bags and that I can get this done pretty quickly. And I also need to make sure that when I add more soil that I fill all these back up to the line. Y'all, these clips of the dogs that I'm showing you are from this past summer during the days when it was like 110 outside. I don't know how these dogs would have made it without their little swimming pool and the water to play in. They're kind of like the cats in that they want to go out here at least for a little while no matter what the weather is, but it got so hot this past summer. All right, time to go get some of that sandy soil out of my grow bags that had the potatoes in them. And here is the current situation in the grow bags. Y'all, if you haven't watched my other videos, these chickens have made these grow bags their little personal dust baths, and they absolutely love them. Okay, so I'm gonna get an empty grow bag and I'm just gonna make a few trips over there with some of this sandy soil and see how much it actually fills the containers up. And I'm gonna let y'all watch these chickens for just a couple more seconds while I do that. I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so even though that soil was sandy, it was a little bit difficult to break up. I'm not even sure that I like it more than the potting mix, but you can tell by looking at it here that it is a little bit more sandy. But because it was so difficult for me to get it out of those bags, I think I'm just going to put some inside each of these tiers and then fill the rest back up with potting mix, which is not ideal, but I'm not about to go to the store to buy sand or anything else today. So as usual, I'm just going to experiment and see how it goes. Y'all know I do this a lot. I love to just experiment, see how things turn out. I don't stress about it because that takes the fun out of gardening, so we'll just see how it works. All right, guys, so if you're new, once again, make sure that you fill these tiers all the way to the top. Like what you see right now is not enough, but I'm working on it. You can see right here on this one how far that has settled. That's the one that I'm leaving alone for now. I might add some more potting mix to it, but I just wanted to show you how much it settles. And I always fill it to the top. And also make sure that these watering trays that go in between each tier don't have any dirt that's clogging up those little holes, or the watering system won't work. All right, so these are the ones I want to plant the most of. I love the colors, I love the shapes, and so I'm going to plant more of these than I am the other 3. Okay, so I've got the tiers put back together and ready to go. Now, I've mentioned before in some other videos, I've had a little bit of an issue with shade in here, like too much shade on the bottom tiers because of the way the patio fencing was built. I was trying to keep animals out and really didn't think about the fact that it was going to block some of the sun. And these carrots definitely like sun. So the ones that I want to grow the most of, I'm going to put them on the top tiers, just in case the bottom ones don't get quite as much sun. But I do rotate them like I'm supposed to, and so hopefully they'll get enough sun. We'll see how this goes. Now, if you're new, you'll see I'm not using the watering system and pouring the water in the top. I'm just spraying down the potting mix so that it's wet for when I plant the seeds. There are no roots. I don't need to go with the deep watering system right now. I'm just going to poke some holes right on the top, and that's where they're going to live for a little while as they're sprouting. Now I'm going to do 2 seeds in each hole, and I did 2 holes here. I think as I get to the bottom, I'm going to try 1 hole in the center and just see what happens. But I think there should be room for 2. I'm hoping, if they grow straight down and don't hit something that makes them go sideways. But again, we'll just see. And honestly, it's just me and the dogs eating these, so I really could care less what they look like. I just love how healthy they are and the taste. Okay, so I'm not going to make you guys watch me seed all these. I have so many videos of me planting seeds and amending soil and all of those things. So if y'all are new, just check out my playlist. I have a ton of information for you. But I am so happy to get this done, and it says it takes about 70 days. So I am hoping by then that me and the dogs are going to have quite a few carrots to snack on. All right, I hope you guys have started making some progress in your garden. I'll see you real soon in the next video, and until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.